Just fight a little longer, my friend. It's all worth it in the end. But when you got nobody to turn to, just hold on and I'll find you. I'll find you. I'll find you. Just hold on and I'll find you.
Alright, coming to you live from Altamont Springs, Florida. This is The Ember Show. Your host, Ember. I appreciate you pressing play. I hope that you have had a great weekend so far. You know, Monday right around the corner. Just want you to be able to relax and listen to this podcast in whatever fashion, wherever you're at. Just try to have it with an open mind and an open heart. You know, we're all battling tough times. Maybe we're not all battling depression. Maybe we're all just lacking motivation from the people around us. Maybe we're just struggling in different areas. And we're afraid to talk about it. But I believe that this is the time to talk about it. The only time we're going to heal is when we can be able to talk about our issues that need to be handled. You know, and we're going to be doing a couple Bible verses that break down what to do during depression, because we're all going to face it if you haven't already faced it. A little bit about me. If you haven't listened to my show in a long time, or this is your first time, I am from Orlando, Florida. I am a Christian, and this is a faith-based podcast, but at the same time, we come realistically just as we are. You know, so this is no judgment. You know, if you ever wanted to hop in the chat and you want me to pray for you or someone that is going through a tough time, that's fine. You know, the power of prayer is very... People underestimate the power of prayer. You know, the power of prayer has gotten me out of a lot of situations. But the topic today is battling depression. And what does the Bible say about battling depression? We can only battle what we can battle. You know, sometimes I believe we all tend to overwhelm ourselves. Sometimes we feel as if we can take on the world, and we don't want to ask for help. I know I've been that type of person. I have been that type of person that thinks, I don't need no help. I got this. I'm going to handle it this way. And God has shown me, that's not how it works. You know, that's not how it works. And that's not how I'm going to improve. Because depression is just like the devil. It comes to kill, destroy, conquer you, keep you down. And depression, it's something, like I've stated in the beginning of this podcast, I'm doing a live stream as well, that I've had to deal with it since I was a teenager. You know, growing up, it's not easy. You know, I mean, yeah, I've had it better than a lot of people. You know, and a lot of people will say, hey, well, think about it like this: somebody else out there has it worse. But that doesn't take away what we go through individually. You know, we all are going to battle something that we're going to need a little extra help. And that's where the Lord comes in. So Psalms chapter 34 verse 18 states, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit." There's so many times that I have had my heart broken. I have broken people down with words and regretted it the next day. You know, I've had a lot of demons that I've had to fight off. And I'm still exercising these demons. And talking about this depression, sometimes it's self-inflicted, but majority of the time it's not. There's going to be people around you that they say they love you and they want the best for you. But do they really? Do they really want the best for you? You have to ask yourself that, and you have to ask God that in your own time, because you're going to feel it in your gut most of the time, and your gut instinct is not going to lie. It's not going to lie. If your gut instinct tells you something, stay away from this person, or this is not a person you should be around. You get that weary feeling, right? And a lot of us go against it. A lot of us feel as if, well, that's just a feeling, because we're all taught to just say, oh, especially as men, oh, don't worry about your feelings. Control your emotions, right? That's what we have to do. Control our emotions. We can't show any emotion. Especially if it's a sad emotion, because then we're looked down upon, like, oh, you're not a man, you're a boy. But it's okay for a woman to cry and to be comforted, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm going off topic with this. This is what I do because it's my show. This is what I'm. But again, I do appreciate anyone that has took time to press play, or if you're listening live now. This is the Ember Show. Your host, Ember, and 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 7 states, "Casting all your anxieties on Him, because He cares for you." There's so many times where I just didn't know what to do. And the satisfaction of prayer during these difficult times where you just feel like no, it doesn't necessarily change it. It's not going to change it overnight. But what it does is it puts it in the care of God. And then we have to be patient on His time, because a lot of prayers get answered in a different way. And sometimes God's going to take your prayer request and really test you and make you, is that what you really want? Is that the protection you want? Is that the kind of career do you want? Is that the relationship do you want? There's just so many different things that go past our mind when we ask God for something. Because God's like, all right, well, you're going to ask me for this. Then maybe it's taken away from something I've already given you. And I know it might be a little all over the place, but you gotta understand that anxieties are gonna come and go. In life, you're gonna be put in situations where you don't want to be there, you don't want to do it, but you have to. In order to grow, you have to go through those. Because I'm not gonna mention any names, but I would have people that would say, "Oh, I just don't like being around a lot of people." And I understand with the COVID now and everything, I get it. But we are surrounded by billions of people. Billions of people. We're going to have to find a way to get through this anxiety of having to be around a lot of people. We have to get away from thinking that everybody is out to get us. Because I used to live like that too. I used to feel as if everybody's out to get me. I can't trust nobody. I used to have anxieties too, but they have gotten so much better over the years because I just put my care into being the best I can be, and try to make people laugh, try to make people feel comfortable in the situation or in the conversation that we're in. So Matthew chapter 11, and we're still talking about depression, what the Bible says about depression. So Matthew chapter 11 verse 28 states, "Come to me, all who labor and heavy laden, I will give you rest." There's so many times where we feel as if we can't get no rest. It don't matter. You could be on a vacation, you could be sitting by the water, and just something just keeps bugging you. Right? And yeah, we could have a good time, and yeah, we can throw it off like everything's fine. But internally, if we are not right with God, if we are not right with what we really should be doing, it's going to eat at you. And it's going to be God going like this, poking at you. And I'm just saying it on my live stream. But you obviously on the podcast can't see what I just did. But just breaking these Bible verses down a little bit, and that's what I love to do on this podcast of mine, is we can all convert it into our lives. We can all take pieces of the Bible, because all of it's good. we could take pieces of the Bible and use what it tells us. We just have to convert it. Because, yeah, it was written back then. Yes, it was written at a certain time frame. It's way completely different times now. But we can convert it and try to apply it to our lives. Because best-selling book is also a motivator. It's also encouraging. It's also uplifting. That's one of the reasons why it is the number one selling book. And continuing to talk more about depression, because we have to do it. Philippians chapter 4 verse 6 states, "Do not be anxious about anything, but put everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving." That's one of the hardest parts to do. Is you have to thank Him before you even receive your blessing. That's what a lot of us, we don't do. We just, oh God, give us this. Lord, give us this. Give us this. And we don't say thank you ahead of time. Even if you don't get it. Because maybe you weren't meant to get it right then and there. And it says, Thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. The one thing is, God already knows what you're going to say, what you really need, but He can't read your mind. He needs to be able to connect with you on that level, and a lot of us block that out. You know, I've done it, where I just pray and I'm just like, I want to get done with the prayer and go to bed, or I just want to get to, you know, and He takes so much time and patience on us, but we want to rush with Him. But that one part in that Philippians chapter 4 that really stood out to me is giving thanks. Thanksgiving. Giving thanks to God before it was even given. It's kind of hard to do, though. It's hard to do. But I encourage you to start trying to do it. Philippians chapter 4, and then we'll go ahead and close out, and then we'll do another part 2. Philippians chapter 4, verse 7, and it's the next verse. "And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guide your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." See, Jesus has so many visions for us, so many goals, but the one thing that we tend to do is focus on what we don't have. We focus on the depression. We focus on the lack of money. We focus on the lack of material things or up-to-date things, right? Everybody wants something new. Everybody wants something brand new. It's because, does it really lose its value, though, because it's old? Yeah, it might wear and tear, and eventually things need to be changed. But I'm going to close it out on this segment of battling depression, and we're going to do a part 2. I'm just going to go ahead and play some of this music. I appreciate you pressing play. Go ahead and please press play on the next part. There'll be some other great Bible verses in there. Appreciate you.
Just fight a little longer, my friend. It's all worth it in the end. But when you got nobody to turn to, just hold on and I'll find you. I'll find you. I'll find you. Just hold on and I'll find you.
I'm hanging on by a thread, and all I'm clinging to is prayers. And every breath is like a battle. I feel like I ain't come prepared. And death's knocking on the front door. Pain's creeping through the back. Fears crawling through the windows, waiting for them to attack. They say don't get bitter, get better. I'm working on switching them letters. But tell God I'ma need a whole lot of hope keeping it together. I'm smiling in everyone's face. I'm crying whenever they leave the room. They don't know the battle I face. They don't understand what I'm going through. The world trying to play with my soul. I'm just trying to find where to go. I'm trying to remember the way. I'm trying to get back to my home. But I can't do this on my own. That's why I'm just trusting in you. Cause I don't know where else to go. And I don't know what else to do.
Just fight a little longer, my friend. It's all worth it in the end. But when you got nobody to turn to,